Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Cameron Kelly Smith. Be sure to hit that subscribe and notification button to stay tuned on the content I produce each and every week in the world of wrestling and movie related discussions. So Ford versus Ferrari here in the UK, it is titled Le Mans 66, which I'm not quite sure why they made the title change. However, I'm sure we'll find out later on, but I have a feeling it has something to do with the fact that that race maybe means more in Europe, and thus maybe this audience in Europe and in the UK would identify more with it. I don't know, but Ford versus Ferrari is directed by James Mangold, starring Christian Bale as Ken Miles and Matt Damon as Carroll Shelby. And essentially what this film is about is that it takes place in the mid-1960s, where Ford Motorsport is essentially trying to get into the race car business, and they are trying to overthrow the dominant race car business at that time, which is Ferrari. And they essentially, Henry Ford II essentially brings in Carroll Shelby and Ken Miles in order for them to help build and also race a race car that will be able to beat Ferrari at the Le Mans 1966 race. So this movie, straight off the bat, is absolutely phenomenal. It is fantastic. It is superbly directed. James Mangold, who directed Logan, is now proving himself to be one of the best working directors in the game. It is superbly directed. It is well paced. It is an exhilarating story. Christian Bale, it's Christian Bale. Like, we know from Christian Bale that he's going to always give his absolute best in the performance. And he gives a tremendous performance in this movie. Really heartwarming. A really charming performance. And Matt Damon, I was surprised because Matt Damon, in my opinion, gives one of his best performances that I have personally seen him do in years. And the relationship and chemistry that those two characters and actors share on screen is just mesmerizing. It's fun, it's beautiful, it's heartwarming, and I absolutely loved it. As I said, this movie is superbly directed. It is so fun. It's exhilarating. You're rooting for your characters to win. You are watching these races, which are so well shot, so perfectly executed. It's exhilarating, it's exciting. You're watching with such excitement and anticipation, wanting to see how the race is going to pan out, wanting to see how they get there, the obstacles they have to go over, and just the whole movie in general is fantastic. There's a lot of politics involved, and it's just a really interesting and fascinating story, which I was actually very surprised and shocked to realize that a lot of the events in this movie, some of which, and a lot of which actually, I did look and go, that seems too good to be true. They probably, over-exaggerated that. That probably didn't happen. They probably added that. But then when doing research after seeing the movie, I actually realized that literally every single thing in this movie is factually accurate, and literally the whole thing is completely true. And some of the politics and the events and what happens in this movie is like so jaw-dropping, and there's so much drama involved, and it's so fascinating that it will actually shock you to realize that this is actually a true story. And I think it's great that this story is now coming to light in this film, and that the story of Ken Miles in particular, somebody who we've not really heard much of about, at least outside the racing community, that his story is now coming to light. And once you see this movie, I think you'll understand why it is important that his story has come to light. In regards to the cons of this movie, literally the only major con I had, because I really enjoyed this movie, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. The major con I had about this movie is simply the length. It's a little bit too long, just a little bit, but you won't overly feel it. It's nothing too extreme. It's quite a long movie. It's around 2 hours and I believe 2 hours and a half, 2 hours and 20 minutes. So it's quite a lengthy film, but it is fantastic. It should be an awards contender. It's already looking like it's going to be an award, at least up for consideration for the award season. I hope it gets something. I hope it gets nominated. I hope it's in the conversation, because it was absolutely fantastic, and I really recommend that you go and see it. So Ford versus Ferrari, i.e. for us in Europe and the UK, Le Mans 66, I'll give this movie a solid 9 out of 10. I think it's fantastic, and you should really go see it. It is worth your time. If you've seen Ford versus Ferrari, let me know what you thought in the comment section below, or if you haven't, go and check it out and get back to me afterwards. Give this video a big fat thumbs up. Thank you very much for checking out my video, guys. Have a good day.